and confident than ever, expanding their protection rackets into the West End. But their activities were attracting the attention of the media and the police.
For Scotland Yard men who face all too often a wall of silence, the rise in violence is a constant headache. New orders have been issued in a bid to check the racketeers.
Well, I was picture editor of the Sunday Mirror at that time. We were about to run a series of articles on the evil Kray family, the twins and their brother. We knew they were the biggest gangsters in London, but how to nail them, how to get them exposed. On the Sunday Mirror, we had a splendid crime correspondent called Norman Lucas, and he got a tip, obviously, from someone in the yard, that the Kray twins were having an improper relationship with Lord Boothby. Well, the editor, Reg Payne, was most excited. This was clearly a page-one story, a big scandal, would run for weeks. The question was, how could he get it into the paper? The editor knew he couldn't name Boothby, and he didn't even name the Krays. He ran it as an improper relationship between a prominent peer of the realm and a homosexual thug.
Well, of course, we all knew exactly who the peer was. Everybody in London knew who the peer was and who the gangster was. The whips, I'm told, went round to Boothby, who was in a blind panic. Of course, being Bob, he denied all knowledge of it and said, as complete lies, all of it lies.
The next day, a photograph was sent anonymously to the Sunday Mirror. Boothby had allowed Kray's gang to take pictures at his flat. The newspaper now had hard evidence to support its allegations of an improper relationship.
Well, it was a picture editor's dream come true. When that picture landed on my desk, I thought, fantastic, great, here's a page-one splash, because there was Boothby with Ronnie Kray and a young lad who was alleged to be a rent boy. Sensational. Knockout. You couldn't beat that.
A week later, the Sunday Mirror ran the story again. For legal reasons, the photo could not be shown, but the paper's claim to have a picture too sensitive for publication caused a sensation. The Tory whips now suspected Boothby had lied to them. Terrified of further revelations and with less than 3 months until the general election, the government was starting to panic.
There had been a crisis meeting at the top of the Conservative Party with the Prime Minister, Sir Alec Douglas-Home. Let's remember that in the previous year they'd had the Profumo scandal, and they obviously thought, no way can our government survive another of these scandals.
Boothby was on the verge of ruin, but he wasn't the only politician involved in the scandal. Rumours were now circulating in Westminster that Labour MP Tom Dryburgh had also been fraternising with rent boys and criminals. What had been a damaging story for the Conservative government alone now threatened Harold Wilson's Labour Party too.
Wilson, I'm told, vetoed any member of the Labour Party speaking out about the matter at all. So he closed ranks with Douglas-Home and the Conservatives to protect Boothby. There was this kind of inter-party conspiracy.
Boothby, the Tory, was suddenly offered the services of a powerful figure from the Labour Party, lawyer Arnold Goodman.
Goodman was right at the heart of the Labour establishment, and Harold Wilson's Mr. Fix-It. And in becoming Mr. Fix-It, he became a lavatory attendant of British politics.
With Goodman on board, Boothby sent a letter to the Times. He said he'd met Ronnie Kray just 3 times to discuss a business proposition, which he'd refused. He explicitly denied being homosexual and called the whole story a tissue of atrocious lies.
But it was a bit like the Pope suddenly announcing that he wasn't Catholic. I mean, something none of us took seriously.
He said he was going to the law, going to sue us for libel, and we thought, Bring it on. Yeah, great. We've got the picture, we've got the evidence, we've got the tip from the yard.
The stage was set for a court case more salacious than the Profumo affair, and sure to overshadow the imminent election. But neither party was about to let that happen.
Would you believe the top man at the Mirror Group, Cecil King, bottled out, caved in, made an abject apology on the front page of the paper, and that was the end of that. And poor Reg Payne, the editor, who had all this evidence, copper-bottomed, 100% correct in the story, was fired.
Under pressure from the government and the opposition, the Mirror bosses turned their editor into a scapegoat. They blamed him for printing allegations which they now claimed were completely untrue. Boothby received £40,000 in damages, an unprecedented out-of-court settlement worth more than £500,000 today. Harold Wilson went on to win the election for Labour, while the Boothby affair was largely forgotten. But the cover-up by Conservatives and Labour had terrible consequences for those who were trying to bring the krays to justice.
We had to drop our investigation of the Krays family, and other papers did the same, of course. If there's a libel action and you lose, then you steer clear of that subject, that story, for a long time to come.
Scotland Yard halted their investigation and ignored the krays for several months, until a member of the public insisted on action. The owner of the Hideaway Club in Soho made a complaint to police that the Kray twins and Teddy Smith had demanded money and smashed up his premises. These were serious charges, and the police arrested the three men. Held on remand and refused bail, Ronnie Kray was facing a long jail sentence if found guilty. It was time to call on the services of his tame politician.
Bob Boothby, having narrowly avoided total ruin over this, got up in the House of Lords and tabled a question demanding that the Krays should be released on bail.
Boothby was shouted down and publicly humiliated.
He was doing something which he should not have done. He knew damn well he shouldn't. It's unconstitutional for anyone in the Commons or the House of Lords to try to interfere with the behaviour of the judiciary.
Boothby later confessed to Michael Thornton that he'd been acting under duress and that Kray had blackmailed him.
He said to me rather pathetically, "I can't do anything, I can't do anything. You see, they've got too much on me." Leslie Holt told me, quite a long while after all of this, that they had damning photographs.
Despite Boothby's intervention, the Kray twins and Teddy Smith were put on trial at the Old Bailey. Accusations of witness intimidation and jury nobbling dogged the proceedings. The Krays won the case and were acquitted of all charges.
What are you going to do now that it's all over?
I like to have a bit of family life now, you know. I intend to get married in the near future. I did before this case, where he took back over the case, and get married as soon as possible, you know.
Ronald, what are you going to do now?
Well, I'd like to go abroad for a short while, and then I'd like to be left alone.
But they didn't want to be left alone. With the collapse of the Hideaway trial, the Krays were no longer criminals, they were celebrities, just as they'd always wanted. Reggie got married with wedding photos taken by David Bailey, and a guest list including TV stars and even Labour MP Tom Dryburgh. Bailey then produced an iconic photo series featuring Mick Jagger, the Beatles and Michael Caine alongside the Kray twins and their brother Charlie.
I think the Krays thought they'd made it to the big time. They'd made it to the it world.
As a direct result of the Boothby affair and the failed court case, the Krays were now perceived by the police and the media as completely untouchable. Yet the public still had no idea that Boothby's £40,000 payout had been based on lies. And it was the public who would now pay the price, as the Krays ruthlessly expanded their empire.
Well, the animal zoo. Got away with about 30 stitches.
And I see Reggie and Ronnie beat the man to pulp until he couldn't stand up.
He said, if you don't pay, he said, we're going to shoot one of your men every week.
They always did what they threatened. If they threatened to do a thing, it was done.